So this is a 20-minute, no, 15-minute drawing that I sped up just a little bit to 10. And it's the first time I'm going to narrate one of my digital drawings. So this is a Chanel Resort image I found on firstview.com, which is an awesome resource for seeing all the latest backstage and runway show images for designers from all over the world. I'm using Tayasui Sketches app. All these links will be in the comment below. And what I did was, if you look at the left, whenever you see a red tool, that's the tool I'm using. So the top red tool at the left right now is the pencil tool. Pencil tool has a nice gritty and sheer look. So I use that a lot for like tweed fabrics like this one. It's also really useful for yarn dyed plaids like this one. So all the soft lines I did were with that pencil tool. The other tool at the left toolbar, which pops out from time to time, is the watercolor tool. That's how I did the head, neck, and legs, was with the watercolor brush. Now I'm still using pencil tool, and when you see a little rainbow pop up at the right, that's my color picker. So here you can see the texture of the pencil. I used a black pencil, and now I'm using a fine line pen. So you can see the red tool at left. It's not a brush tip pen. There is also a brush tip pen in this app, but I used the fine line. So it's kind of like a Micron pen or a Sharpie or a Pitt pen. Those are all waterproof black pens. Also useful for you to know that I can use any color ink I want, but I use black a lot because for me, black always represents the darkest and most sharp lines in anything. So whenever I'm fashion illustrating, I always look for the blackest areas in the image I'm looking at. If I'm working from a photo, that will often be like deep creases, like under pocket flaps or under collar edges, and finding those blackest areas, I believe, really makes a visual pop. What I just did with the face as well is I had soft pencil lines first to map out the facial features. Then I came in with my black pen. You can see now I just adjusted my pen to be a thinner pen line because the fabric that I was rendering is soft and light, like it has a delicate fringe on the end of the collar. I was zoomed in for a while there while I worked on the face. Now I've zoomed out, not entirely, but quite a bit. And again, using a fine pen. Now I'm zooming out more and more because I had like lightly sketched out the shape of her outfit, but now I'm getting more specific. I'm drawing the fringed edges. I'm drawing like the extremities, the length of her jumpsuit, the place where the coat overlaps the jumpsuit. I defined the V-neck, now the cuff of the sleeve, and I want to make sure I captured several things. I want to capture the silhouette, which is, the overall shape and size of the garment. But then I also want to capture details like the fringe, the cuff, the pocket, let's say, the cuff. Well, there's no visible pocket here, yeah. And then finally, I'm putting in some of the boldest shadows because she's walking, so that adds a lot of movement. Those diagonal kind of pull lines across her hip give a lot of movement. So now she's got these strappy lace-up sandals. So I'm drawing that in. And when I do that, even though I know those are like X's and I know the straps are straight, notice that every strap I draw is actually slightly curved. And the reason I do that is because her legs are like cylinders. So anything that I know is straight, I know is actually bent when it's on her body, right? So if I had drawn those just as straight X's, they wouldn't have as much like 3D effect. Another thing you'll notice if you look at this whole drawing is that the lines are not flat. They have variety. So like a line will be thicker in some places and thinner in others. It's actually easiest to see this on those sandals. And I just love that. So I wanted to point that out to you because the less even the lines are, the more realistic and easy it is on the eye. So I went to my tool again. Look at the top left bar. It's the red tool is pencil again. So the pencil, you can see how it shows up almost smoky. This Tayasui Sketches app allows me to choose paper types. So I'm actually working on their watercolor paper. And because I'm using the watercolor paper and the pencil, I get that sheer, smoky, gritty. I'm always talking about the gritty because the pencil tool is probably my favorite tool in the whole thing. I'm able to get like a woven feeling from a tool like that. You see here I'm putting in the cross grain stripes in the plaid. This isn't a plaid outfit. Nobody knew that yet, but now we're doing it. And I love that I was able to draw, I'm rendering the print in pencil. It's not a print, sorry. It's a woven pattern. Prints are applied to the fabric, but woven is, built in structurally. But then because I used an ink pen for the details and the silhouette, it allows the viewer, as far as design drawing goes, it allows them to separate, what's fabric rendering and what is the actual garment detailing. So I think that's a super useful golden bingo sweepstakes prize kind of tip. Now I'm using colored pencils at the right. I was color picking. Did you see that that's a watercolor brush. So I got my watercolor brush, I picked a new color, and I'm warming up her skin tone because the image I worked from had more contrast between the clothing and the skin. So yeah, I'm working a heavier skin tone. Now why am I doing that? It looks like I chose a skin tone for the sandals. I thought her sandals were yellow. Okay, I used a marker tool for that. Let's see what happens. Now I'm using another fine line pen, choosing a color, because there's like a greenish gray. So I'm experimenting with that. So one of the reasons I love these apps is I can test things out. You'll see me scribbling in the side or trying something, and then you'll see the word undo show up. So in this app, if I swipe 2 fingers to the left on the screen, it will undo as many steps as I want. So I can try something, and then if I don't like it, I can just lose it. The tool I'm using now is super important, especially for fashion. It's a brush tip. Do you see that at the left sidebar? It's a brush tipped pen. So take what we were doing before and just turn up the volume 100 times. It goes from thick to thin, and you can see how it really transforms the drawing that we had. It's much more attention grabbing. It's much higher contrast, more movement and depth. Something I'll always remind you is that diagonal lines add a lot of movement to your drawing. So I'm always looking for as many diagonals as I can to keep things sweeping and moving around the page. For me, the big challenge is always to keep her looking alive. And to me, motion is life. I've gone back to my pencil. I wanted to make the plaid look more like the plaid that was in the photo I was working from, so I just keep building that up. So first thing I usually do is I'll work with a base tone for whatever the garment is, and then whatever the texture or pattern is, I'll build on top of the base tone. There's never a rule how to do that. You can do it many, many ways, render a pattern. There's no right or wrong. We are almost done. I'm just signing and labeling my work with the brush pen. And thanks for joining me. Subscribe for more. I hope you enjoyed. This is Laura Bulbintesta from Fashion Illustration Tribe, signing off.